So let's just talk about digital sales right now. The Switch is coming out, and everybody said the new generation was going to be all digital sales, and Nintendo said no. In fact, they're not even going to say CD. It's cartridge again, which brings me back to
Yeah,
my childhood. I hope I can blow in them, but um, they're going to be little discs, just like the 3DS, just like the Vitas, kind of. Vitas games are very flimsy, though. I'm always scared I'm going to break them when I'm pulling them out of the case. I don't know if you feel the same way.
I don't think they're that flimsy. They're just a little thinner.
Yeah. Well, um, so do you think the next generation, which I guess I think Nintendo. It's hard to count them as a generation because I think the PS4 is gonna and the Xbox One is gonna be on for another 5 years. Um,
Probably.
so we're as far as Nintendo's generation, um, do you think? I mean, obviously we're seeing more and more digital sales, digital content, and digital games. But
Right.
I don't see the big uh, the good things about them. I mean, they were supposed to be cheaper when they came out. They were, it take I don't know how Nintendo's going to do it if their system's only 32 gigabytes. I mean, I wonder how big Zelda's going to be if I wanted to buy that digitally.
Yeah. I
It's just
mean, there's
not
definitely an
convenient.
issue with space. I mean, you only hold so many games, and then if you want to replay a game, you have to re-download it. And then if you ran out of space, you have to delete something else. You know, I mean, for a matter of a little bit of convenience for trading out the disc or cartridge or whatever.
I mean, I love the digital games I have now. I love being able to just not get off of my chair and switch games on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they are cheaper, on Steam, but I think that the main thing is that they're great for indie games. I mean, if you're an
Yeah.
indie developer, I mean, there's no way you can make a physical copy of a game and get enough copies out there to pass around.
Right. Right. Well, you bring up Steam, and I guess PC gaming is pretty much probably 90% digital at this point.
Yeah,
But what they did is make it cheap. I mean, there's so many deals that you can get a Steam game for. If you look at the console version, it's crazy. Another thing I don't understand is physical games they go on sale. You can go to a Target, you can go to a Walmart, you can get them on sale. That physical copy usually doesn't go on sale unless if Sony or Microsoft have this big sale. But 20, let's say 2 years from now, and you want to buy Doom, you can probably buy it for $15, $20 brand new at GameStop if GameStop's still open in 2 years. But the digital version would probably still be $50, $60. Um,
it could be.
that's
Yeah,
that's where I don't see the value. I mean,
I mean, I don't see the value just because you're not owning anything. I mean, we talk about microtransactions being silly because you're paying, let's say, $2 for a sword or a gun.
yeah.
You're doing the same thing. You're paying, $20 for a game that you don't physically own. You have literally nothing to show for your money, and I think that's the major downside to that.
But do you think enough people care that about that materialistic reason? Because that's literally what it is, right? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think enough people care because I think that, if you're paying a couple bucks for a special gun in a game or an outfit or something, the value of that isn't really there. However, if you're paying and you're getting a full game downloaded,
yeah,
people see the value in that and they say, okay, that's worth the money. However, I'm just saying personally, I don't see the value because,
yeah.
you're not owning something physical. That's why whenever it comes to an actual released game, I would always rather have the physical version, rather than get the download version. Something like Mercenary Kings, there's not um, a physical version, right? Resogun,
Yeah,
Sony didn't release a physical version. Yeah,
right. Which I think I don't always think that a game needs to be physical. Like if it's a small scale game, indie game, like you were saying, but
yeah, exactly.
sometimes those games get a physical copy later down the road, which is kind of neat. I think like a Plants vs Zombies game, which um, I'm not saying that's an indie game, but I'm saying that was a digital game, and then they were like, huh, let's make it also physical. right?
Yeah, I
Because
think they do that to try to reach different platforms too. I think originally it just came out for PC,
yeah,
so
well, when it
you
came
know,
out for PS, PlayStation, I know that it was only digital, and then like the Telltale games, right? Usually
right,
those come out in episodes, right? There'll be 5 episodes, and they'll all be digital, and then at the end, they're like, all right, we're gonna release a physical copy, which to me that makes me angry because I'd like the physical copy up front, but they can't really do it because they're releasing it in segments. So I kind of
yeah,
understand what they're doing. So I
yeah,
never buy them. I wait for it to be a physical copy, and then I'll go out and get Wolf Among Us, which is an amazing game.
and there's still the point that microtransactions and digital games are still fairly new.
Yeah.
So to try to find their niche and what the
Hmm.
consumers want and what people are willing to pay for and all that, there's still some time to companies to figure all that out.
Right. I think people want to be able to trade their games in when they're done. Not everybody's like us, where we try to collect everything. I think a lot of people want to be able to trade it in after a month of playing it and beating it and getting their fun out of it. So,
Yeah, and you can't even do that really with digital because you'd have to give someone else your sign on. Then, you can't be signed on when they're signed on, that type of thing.
right. Sharing becomes yeah. You're absolutely right. When you were talking about earlier, in school, borrowing Game Boy games, I guess that just wouldn't happen in this day and age.
Right.
With digital were to take over. So, okay.